companies that are interested in creating a culture of equity in the workplace need to start with a search and destroy mission where they get rid of every slogan, every poster, everything where they say, we're all in this together, or diversity is wonderful, anything like that, because these slogans mean nothing, and it's the actions that make the difference. And so companies need to take a very careful look at their values and what they actually want to accomplish, and then work from there. And so if they decide that they would like to have employees who better represent their community, then they need to start to work towards that. And a nice email sent to everybody, or a nice poster in the break room, it won't accomplish that. It makes people cynical and makes the company look a bit hypocritical. So one thing that they might start off doing is to look at the experiences of their current employees. And so depending, they may not think that they have a very diverse employment group, but they actually might. I mean, not every disability is visible. Not everybody's experiences are immediately obvious. And so they will need to take the temperature of the organization. So this could be an anonymous survey. This could be if there's a good relationship with HR, this could be done through some careful consultation. But the company needs to be ready to know that many people are not going to be comfortable at all raising problems that they've had as a minority group, as a Black employee, as an Indigenous employee. And so they're not going to necessarily be able to just ask, what should we do? And then have a clear set of steps to follow immediately after. Now, some organizations will develop what's sometimes known as an affinity group. And the idea is to create an informal way for employees who share a cultural background or who are from the same demographic group to allow them to meet together and to discuss issues within the organization, maybe a platform for some informal mentoring and so on. So this can sometimes be effective. Sometimes it's controversial though. And the issue here is that these affinity groups cannot replace the work that HR should be doing or that top management should be doing, right? So a collection of employees within the organization, maybe they can provide input into policies. They should not be developing policies. It's not their job to police the organization. A lot of employees who have kind of an intersectional demographic background, so if they have a disability, for example, or if they're women, or if they're Black or Indigenous or person of color, they're often expected to do more than everybody else in terms of not only do they have to do their job, they have to bring the organization into 2020 in terms of making sure that it's inclusive and welcoming. And it's not how it's supposed to work. So affinity groups, it could be an option, but it's not necessarily going to solve all the problems that a company has. So if the organization is looking at its employee base and notices, okay, it's actually not as diverse as they would like it to be, usually at that point, somebody will say, okay, we need to hire more X. And then somebody in the organization will say, oh, but we tried and it's just not possible. They're just not out there and they're not applying. And so in that case, the organization most likely has a recruitment problem, even if they don't have a selection problem. And so they need to redouble their efforts in terms of finding people who are suitable and who would be interested in coming to the organization. And they also need to make the organization an attractive place to work. And so this has to be a company that pays well, treats its employees well, and is a place where people can chart a career path. So it's not just a one-stop shop for the early stages of their career. It's a place where they could achieve their career potential.